Hello and welcome to Friday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I'm actually not feeling too bad today. I was restrained last night. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, I was allowed out last night to go to a party hosted by an old school friend of mine. So Nigel, thank you very much for your hospitality. It was an absolutely fantastic evening. I met up with another school friend of mine who I've not seen since school. So I'm not going to tell you how long ago that was, but Charles, it was great to see you. I actually also met a real Cracking the Cryptic fan, which has never happened to me before. So Louise, I don't know if you'll be watching today, but it was a pleasure to make your acquaintance. A couple of you have asked what I wear when I go out to parties. Let me try and address that. This is me in my party attire. It was a black tie event, as you can see. I'm barely recognisable. That was me. Yeah, scrubbed up about as good as it gets. I've lost my train of thought now altogether. But anyway, it was a very good evening. But I managed to be relatively abstemious, so that ought to mean I can solve this Sudoku for you or give it a good go. What is this puzzle? Well, there is a little bit of a story behind this puzzle. It's called 40 Corners, and it's by the Cogito. And for those of you who've been with the channel for a while, you might know that occasionally Mark and I stream, and we've streamed quite a lot of gaming over the last couple of years, and we have two absolutely fantastic moderators. Alex Meadows is one of them, and the other is Tristan Okapinti. Now, Tristan is the husband of Zetamath, who is an absolute giant of the Sudoku world, and Tristan is very quick at spotting any nefarious activities in the stream chat. An absolutely brilliant moderator he's been. Anyway, he turned 40 recently, and the Cogito has made a puzzle for Tristan to celebrate that, which is an absolutely wonderful thing. I mean, what better birthday present could there be, other than a new Ferrari, I suppose, than a Sudoku? It's called 40 Corners, which I guess is because, well, all the cages I see add up to 40, which doesn't immediately seem possible. That cage looks broken altogether. But anyway, but the cages do indeed encompass the four corners of the Sudoku. So don't know what's going on, don't know how hard it is, but it has been heavily recommended, so I've no doubt it's brilliant, and this is the puzzle we're going to attempt in a moment or two. I suppose, given I'm thanking the moderators, it would also be appropriate just for a moment for me to thank all of the people behind the scenes on Cracking the Cryptic. We're coming up to the end of 2022, and it's been a very busy year for us. We've managed to produce 2 videos a day all year again. A huge thank you to the testers. We have a bunch of testers who do just brilliant work behind the scenes, testing massive numbers of Sudokus that we get sent. So we get sent between, I'd say, 10 and 30 Sudokus on an average day. And the testers go through them all. Sometimes they can't solve them, so imagine how long they're having to spend. They're having to devote their own time, and they do this for the love of Sudoku variants, and therefore we owe them a big debt of thanks. So I just want to say thank you to all of you. They prefer to remain anonymous, I hope for obvious reasons, but we are very appreciative of what we do. We're also, of course, appreciative of Sven, the programmer we've been working with now for a couple of years, who makes this wonderful software that we get to use every day to solve the puzzles on. So Sven, kudos, my friend, and yeah, that is... Yeah, well, these are people that I think we all benefit from. Now, I've been asked when I'm next going to stream. I'm going to try a game called Teiji, I want to say that might be pronounced. Apparently it is a Witness style game, so I did the Witness about a year ago. Absolutely amazing game. Anyway, something called Teiji has been recommended to us. I am going to try and do that. I've been trying to find a slot in the diary that's going to work. It's a very busy time of year with family, obviously. But in the next couple of days, look out for an announcement. If you follow the channel, you should get an announcement when we work out when we're going to be looking at that. Next, we need to talk about Patreon, don't we? We have got the Sudoku event of the decade, century, whatever, millennium going on at the moment, which is Phistomefel Sudoku Hunt. That's that one. I'm going to read out some more names in a moment of successful solvers. This is the final batch of solvers on the Cryptic Scriptures of the Secret Snake Society, which was the December reward. And I'm going to talk to you a bit and tell you about what's coming up in January, which is this, Numeric Alchemy. The Quest to Turn Digits into Gold by none other than Jay Dyer. Now, Jay is an absolutely amazing setter. I was looking at one of the puzzles from this hunt this morning, a puzzle called Silver. Very, 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 very clever thing indeed. Anyway, this is coming on the 1st of January. It's quite a long hunt, I think 16 or 17 puzzles, but in order to qualify for the competition, you just have to get through the first 5. If you get through all of them, you'll get a shout out on the channel. And anyway, let's get to the names for December. So very well done to Eric McKee, Matthias Levin, Alex Hambrock, Jason Roberts, Lara Sampao, I think, Mary Foster, Ben Batera, Daniel Abrams, John Fairbanks, Palaf Goyal, Jan-Philippe Boltman, Mike Lovell, Manon Kleinjan, Philip Bergjan, Rex Logan, Four Cats Dance, Zachary Nitz, Andy Child, and Rasmus Falkenberg. All of you managed to solve the whole thing. Very well done. And the winner, the drum roll please, the winner of the December competition was Justin Calef. So Justin, I will be in touch with you this afternoon about your prize. Congratulations, fantastic work. And other than that, do I have anything else to tell you? Not really. I'm going to say a very happy birthday, though, to Daniela from your boyfriend Ricardo over there in Portugal, one of my favourite places. Now, Daniela, I think, is that Daniela's been teaching their goddaughter, Lara, who's only age 7, how to solve Sudoku. So, Daniela, you are doing most marvellous work there. I hope you have a brilliant birthday today with lots of cake. And also to Karen, who turns 28 today for the 20th time in a row. Congratulations, Karen. I wouldn't normally be so cheeky, but your husband, Michael, said that that's exactly what I should say. And I'm just doing my job. So, Karen, I hope you have a great day too. Now, let's have a look at 40 corners and see what the Cogito has conjured up for us. I haven't read the rules for this one yet. Mark sent me this puzzle this morning. So the rules are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Every row, column and 3x3 box contains, exactly one doubler cell. Right, so that's how this 40 cage might work then. A digit in a doubler cell counts for twice its value for the purposes of all cage sums. Digits in doubler cells form a unique set of digits 1 to 9, so each digit is going to have to be doubled once, that's what that's telling us. Digits may not repeat in cages, though values might. E.g., a cage may not contain a doubled 2 and a regular 2, okay, but may contain a doubled 2 and a regular 4. I see, okay, because doubled 2 is 4. So if there was a cage, if that had a 2 in it that was doubled, let's say red is a double digit, and then, so that would count as 4, and then there could be a 4 in there, because although those count for the same number, that's not repeating a digit. What we just mustn't do is that, for example. I think that's what it's saying. Caged cells must sum to the value indicated in the top left corner of the cage. Okay, and the cell with a grey circle contains an odd digit, and the cell with the grey square contains an even digit. Right, so we've got a bit of odds and evens. I've got 2 given digits, a 4 and a 5, revealing the secret to us all. And do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play as usual is to click the link under the video. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, what I normally do with doubler puzzles is to try and, well, there must be a doubler in the 40 cage, mustn't there? So what I'm going to try and do is highlight in red cells that must contain a doubler. And then we might be able to extract some knowledge from that. How can I get to 40 in 6 cells? I cannot. No, I can't. The most you can make in 6 cells would be 987654, which I know add up to 39. Now, I know that because of the secret as well. So let's actually let me tell you the secret. Now, it's something that Mark and I only share with our favourite people. But if you're watching the channel, you are definitely in that set of people. Now, the secret is that any complete box of a Sudoku, indeed, any complete row, any complete column, will, because of the rules of Sudoku, contain the digits 1 to 9 once each. And if you add up the digits 1 to 9, you get the triangular number for 9, which is 45, and that's the secret. So if I know that this box contains digits that sum to 45, one way of thinking about a 40 cage in 6 cells might be to look at those 3 cells and say, what's the minimum value of those 3 cells? Well, it would be 1, 2 and 3, which add up to 6, and 45 minus 6 is 39. So if you don't want to do the sum of 987654, you could just do the sum of 1, 2, 3 and do a subtraction. You get the same result, which is that basically there must be a doubler in that 40 cage, because otherwise the numbers can't work. Now, by symmetry, I'm now seeing, yeah, there is some symmetry in this puzzle. That cage must also have a doubler in it for exactly the same reason. A 4-cell 40 cage must surely have a doubler in it, yes, because 4 digits, 9, 8, 7 and 6, the maximum is 30, and we haven't even got the ability to put 9, 8, 7 and 6 into that cage, so there's definitely a doubler in there. Now, right, here is a subtle point, but perhaps an interesting one. How could there not be a doubler in that cage? Now, if there was no doubler in this cage, oh no, there has to be. No, hang on, I'm wrong about this. No, I'm not wrong. Okay, no, I'm not wrong. If there was no doubler in this cage, then these digits would add up to 40, and that would suggest that this had to be a 5, but that would repeat the 5 in this cage, and that's against the rules of the puzzle. Whether or not this is a doubled 5 doesn't matter. You cannot just repeat the digit in the cage. So in fact, there is a doubler in that 40 cage, and that cell therefore is actually undoubled. So we should have an undoubled colour. We will use green for undoubledness. Now, okay. What, if anything, does that mean, you may well be asking? Okay, if I'm having an undoubled colour, then I can greenify those cells, can't I? Now, what about this cage then? So that's another of these 40 cages. If that didn't contain a doubler, this would be a 5. And I don't know whether or not it would be doubled. How many doublers are there? Are there more than one doubler in this 40 cage? There could be 2 doublers. Ah, yeah, okay, this is obvious when you think about it, but I hadn't thought about it. If in the 40 cage, if there was only one doubler, the maximum we could make the cage add up to would be a 9 doubled, which would give us 18, plus an 8 and a 7. Well, an 8 and a 7 only add up to 15, so 18 and 15 is 33, which is a lot less than 40. So I need to get 2 doublers in this cage. Well, in that case, that one can't be a doubler, because if that was a doubler, because we can't repeat a doubler in a row or column, there could only be one doubler. So that's undoubled. These 2 are definitely doubled, which means that all of those cells, all of these cells, all of these cells, all of these cells, all of those cells, that one, and that one, all have to become green. Because that, oh, in fact, those as well, I hadn't seen those in row 4. So all of a sudden, most of the grid has become green. So there must be a doubler now in that 2x2 in the top 40 cage. The top 40 cage, that sounds redolent of pop music. Okay. Can we do something cleverer than this? Quite probably. Oh, right, here's a little point. That cage now, that's an 8-cell cage, which is full of totally natural digits, and it sums to 40. So we know what digit that cage has not got in it. That digit cannot have that cage cannot have a 5 in it, because those 8 digits sum to 40. If it was a 9-cell cage, we know it would add to 45, so it's missing one digit, which is the difference between 45 and 40, so it's missing a 5. Now that means, in this box, in box 3, those 3 cells are not 5, which means there is a 5 in one of those cells, which is the most trivial deduction, but it is at least a deduction that's logical. The same is true by symmetry down there. Those can't contain 5, so that means there's a 5 in this one. We've got a 5 here. And 5 might be an important digit, just from the perspective of the outies from the 40 cages. So if we can prove that 40 cages, although I don't think any of the other 40 cages can be natural, or maybe this one can be natural, but if it was a totally natural 40 cage, its outie would be a 5, is what I was sort of getting round to saying. Now, that could be a doubler, couldn't it? But otherwise, one of those 3 is a doubler. I don't know how to do that. We might actually have to start thinking about quantum in a bit more detail, I think. I'm wondering whether I can... This cage contains 2 doublers. What's... Right, so one of these digits is a 9. I'm going to claim that as a quick deduction. And that's because if neither of these was a 9, the maximum we could be doubling there would be 8 and 7. 8 plus 7 is 15, doubled is 30. That would require this digit to be a 10. So one of those digits is a 9 for sure. And therefore there's no other doubled 9 in this puzzle. Now, what's the lowest? Well, we can't do 15 doubled, because that makes this a 10. So these squares are from 7, 8 and 9. Definitely. I'm going to check 7 for a moment. 7 and 9 is 16 doubled. Yeah, that makes this an 8. So this could be 7, 9 doubled, making this an 8. Or 8, 9 doubled, which is 34, making this a 6. So this is even. Right, so we now know the nature of the doubler. Well, we know it approximately in box 1, because if this digit is 6 or 8, and I believe they are the only 2 options for it, then the natural value, ignore the doubling, the natural value of those 8 digits there is 45 minus 6 or 45 minus 8. Now 45 minus 6 is 39. So how could this cage add up to 39? How could it add up to 40, sorry, if it's got 39's worth of digits in it? Well, there must be a doubled 1 in the cage. Now, if on the other hand this is an 8, these digits naturally add up to 37, then to make 40 we're going to have to double the 3. So there is either a doubled 1 or a doubled 3 in this cage. And there's a doubled 9 here, and either a doubled 7 or a doubled 8. Okay, and... What's going on here then? If I double the 5... right, it's obvious again. I just haven't done the maths. Alright, let's do some proper maths. Double 5 here is not going to work, because if that's double 5, you can't then double either of those, because this would be the doubler in row 6 and column 6, so those 2 would turn green, and that would give us a value of 10, which requires those 3 digits, which will have to be different, to add up to 30. Well, 3 different digits can add up to 24 with 9, 8 and 7, but they can't add up to 30. So that digit is undoubled, which means there's a doubler now in this 40 cage. I don't think that means we know anything about those two cells now, though. And there's a possibility of two doublers in this 40 cage. Or, now, okay, let's think about that. If there's one doubler in this 40 cage, we now know it can't be 9. So it would be a maximum of 8. So we could fill this cage with a natural 9, a natural 7, and a natural 5, and a doubled 8 at a maximum. Now what does all that add up to? 21 plus, not enough, 21 plus 16 is 37. It is not 40. There's a knowledge bomb for you. Those two things are not the same. And in fact, one of them is most certainly less than the other. So there are two doublers in here. So those two are doublers. Aha! Oh, that's great. Right, so those aren't doublers now by the power of SUDOKU, because those two are doublers. That's become a doubler. Now, that's now not a doubler. These aren't doublers. We're going to be able to get loads more greenification, I think, here. We're going to be eco-friendly. Those have got to be undoubled. That's got to be undoubled. Oh, how weird. Okay, so we end up with a Phistomefel cornerage of doublers left over. And 5 actually known doubled cells in the middle boxes, with this one being right in smack bang in the middle of the puzzle. Now, do we know then anything more about these two digits? Well, I don't know, but I suspect if we don't have 8 in one of those, that would be a very good deduction. 7 and 6 doubled is 13 doubled, which is 26. Plus 5 plus 9 works. Bobbins. Okay. Okay. So I can't prove that there is an 8 in here, which would have been a very nice thing to prove, wouldn't it? But there has to be... I'm not going to be allowed to use 7 and 8 here. So I'm guessing that the digit I don't use in this 40 cage does have to be used down here. So what about if we try to get away with... What's going to be the right way to think about this? If we take... Well, hang on, let's do this slowly and methodically. The maximum these two could be would be an 8-6 pair, wouldn't it? Because we could do 8, but then we couldn't do 7, because if we did 8 and 7, these two cells could never be high enough, because we know that this is either 9 with 7 or 9 with 8. So the maximum these could be would be 8 and 6 doubled, which is 28, plus 5 is 33. So that is at least a 7. Which is marginally interesting, actually. So that's going to allow me to pinpoint, I think, the doubler in this box at least. So, on the other hand, if we start reducing this down, so we could go 8... Now, we can't go 8 and 5, because we can't use a 5. So 8 and 4 would be the next thing we could do, which would be not enough, because 8 and 4 is 12. That gives us 24 in the doublers, plus 5 is 29. That would make this an 11. Right. So what about, so 8 and 6 worked, 7 and 6 worked. 7 and 4 is going to be worse than 8 and 4. So there is a 6 in there, in one of those two cells, for certain. So this is either 8 with 6, or it's 7 with 6, but it's one of those two things. And this digit is therefore very restricted. 8 and 6 we know led to a 7 here. What does 7 and 6 lead to? 7 and 6, 13, 26, 31, 9. Right, so this is odd, and that's even. So these... Okay, so now I've got to do maths on the secret down here. So if this is a 9, these naturally add up to 36, but the value they add up to is 40, so there's a doubled 4 down here. Let's put that right in the corner. If this is a 7, That's 38, isn't it? So that means there's a doubled 2. Right, so this is either doubled 2 or doubled 4. This is either doubled 1 or doubled 3. And perhaps more interestingly still, between those 4 digits we have used up 6, 7, 8 and 9 as doublers. I've just realised I've got the wrong glasses on. I'm going to carry on going though. This is going remarkably well. So that digit is 1, 2, 3 or 4. Because it's not 5 by Sudoku, and it's a double digit that can't be 9, 8, 7 or 6. So now we can do maths on this one, which looks like one of those cracker puzzles that you get where you have to separate 2 bits of metal. Now, okay, so what does this mean? Let me think about this. So if this was a 1, it would count for 2, wouldn't it? So the other digits would sum to 38. It's an 8-cell cage. Okay. So that means that the digit that would be missing from the cage is a 6, I want to say. Let me just think about that again, because I don't want to get this wrong, and I think it would be quite easy to get this wrong. So if this is a 1, what we're saying is the 1 has counted for 2 in the total here. So the other digits sum, those 7 digits must sum, and they're natural, they're all natural, so they must sum to 38. Add the 1 back in, we get 39, so the natural value of those 8 cells is 39, which means that the 40 cage must be missing a 6, because was it 1 cell larger, it would have had the extra digit that would have taken it up to 45. So there is no 6 in it in that instance, which actually would be fascinating, because that would allow me to place a 6 here, because that couldn't be 6. There must be a 6 in this box somewhere. Okay, what if this is 2? So if this is 2, the value of this cell, so far as the 40 cage is concerned, is 4. So the rest of the digits sum to 36, plus the 2 is 38. There's missing a 7, so it's a linear relationship. So this is either missing 6, 7, 8 or 9, this cage. It's either missing 6, 7, 8 or 9. And so until we know, obviously, that whatever it's missing, therefore, will need to appear in this box somewhere, and therefore is either going to be in the circle or the square. I feel like I should be able to work that out. 5 as a doubler is not in any of those cells, look. So 5 as a doubler is in either box 3 or box 7. So let's just have a think about that for a moment. If 5, I don't think the symmetry is going to allow us to know the answer, but what I'm interested in is, does it allow us to calculate those 3 cells? Because what we're saying is, if 5 is doubled in this box, it counts for 10. Yeah, so all we're saying is those digits add up to 10, aren't we, I think? Because we're saying the natural value of those 6 cells is not 40, it's 35. Whereas the whole box adds to 45, so those would add up to 10 without using 5. So they'd have to be 3 cells adding up to 10 without using 5. They would either be 127 or 136, or I don't think there's another way of doing it. I don't think I can do it with 4, 3. 4, 3 and 2 only add up to 9. So possibly, so wherever the 5 goes then, there's going to be a 1 in one of these triples, because it's either going to be 136 or 127. This is really weird at the moment. This puzzle has the feel to me of a puzzle that's unsolvable. I'm sure that's not the case, but I don't feel like there's enough information to differentiate that, sort of get out of the symmetry. I think I must be missing something very, very like core to the idea here. Is it Sudoku? Is the natural question to ask. It could well be, because perhaps I should be asking where those two digits... of course, yeah, okay. One of those digits is a 5. That's interesting. Why do I think one of these digits is a 5? Well, remember, when we did the calculation on the Christmas cracker present shape, we worked out it was missing a 6, 7, 8 or a 9, so it has a 5 in it. Well, it can't have a 5 in box 5 because of this 5, so one of those is a 5. And then one of these is going to go... So this digit, for example, is going to be in one... Well, if it's not the 5, it's going to be in one of those two cells by Sudoku, because it can't repeat in its cage. So it's not going to be in there in box 5. It's going to have to migrate to be in one of those two cells, assuming it's not the 5. Obviously, it's the 5. It can go there. But then that one will go in one of those two. Oh dear. Right, so I'm in trouble here. I'm suddenly feeling very much in trouble. There must be... Is it Sudoku somehow? I know one of these is a 9. I know one of these is a 6. So I know that cell is not a 9. That's not going to be enough. I don't understand. I know that this is a 1 or a 3 doubled. Sorry, and there must be something here that I'm not focusing on properly. I've had double. I've used up 6, 7, 8, and 9. I know one of these is 5. Oh no, that wouldn't work. Well, I was just thinking, if I didn't double... What if I couldn't double 1 here? But that still wouldn't pinpoint the 1. The 1 could be in the middle. Let me check that, though. Can this have a doubled 1 in it? Then, if it's got doubled 1 in it, we know the digits in the cage sum to 39, don't they? Oh, hang on, that's clearly nonsense, if that's right. Yeah, that's just nonsense. Okay, this doesn't have doubled 1 in it. Because if it had doubled 1 in it, I'm sure there's a better way of thinking about this, but basically that 1 is counting for 2. So, had it only counted for its natural value, it would have counted for 1, and this cage should have added up to 39. Well, if those cells add up to 39, those 3 cells add up to 6. And this would have to be a 1, 2, 3 triple. And that's impossible if I've doubled the 1 in that cage. I'm now thinking that not a lot is going to work in this cage. If this is double 2 in it, on the other hand, then we know actually the digits in here add up to 38, and that would make these 3 cells have to be adding up to 7, which makes them 1, 2 and 4. So you can't double 2 in this cage either. Right, can you double 3 in this cage? If you double 3 in this cage... No. I don't think that works, does it? I don't think that works, because if I've doubled 3 in the cage, then I know that those cells add up to 37, which means these cells add up to 8 in 3 cells, which means they're 1, 3, 4. They can't be 1, 3, 4 because I've doubled the 3 in there. Or they're 1, 2, 5, and they can't be 1, 2, 5 because the 5's in there. So this is not 1, 2, 3 either. So is it double 4? If it's double 4, These add up to 36. This is still really restricted even now. If this is double 4, these add up to 36, these add up to 9, but they'd have to be 1, 2, 6 exactly, because they couldn't be 1, 3, 5 and they couldn't be 2, 3, 4. Now, can we rule out these cells from being 1, 2, 6? In which case we could say that this was doubled 5 up here. Not quite, I don't think. I don't think I can. Okay. And did we check 5? We checked 5, didn't we? 5 required these to add up to 10, which we could do. So right, so the double digit in this box, I'm going to go to central pencil marking, I think, is 4 or 5 only. The double digit in this one is 2 or 4. The double digit in this one is 1 or 3. And the double digit in this one... Oh, this is good. No, this is good. Is this the same as this one? Yeah. The symmetry tells us that. I didn't use any trickery, did I, on those digits? I didn't use anything beyond SUDOKU, beyond the fact that the cage had a 5 in it, which both of these do. I didn't use anything else. So, right, this is it. This is it. This is absolutely lovely as well. It's really clever the way this fits together, because it didn't look possible for this to work. But when you actually examine the 6-cell cages, by reference to this funny rule, you find they're far more restricted than you realise because of what you've got to put in the little L-bends that you get left over. So the only double digit that's possible in boxes 3 and 7 is 4 and 5, and that means this double digit down here, you've guessed it, is now a 2. Now if it's a 2 double down here, then we know those cells add up to 38, which means that square's a 7. And if that square's a 7, these squares are now a 6-8 pair, which means that there's no doubled 8 up here. So this is a 7-9 pair. Now that means, what do we need? We've got 7 and 9 doubled, so that's an 8 by mathematics, because 7 and 9 doubled is 32. We need 40, so we need an 8. Now if this is an 8, the natural value of these digits is 37, and yet they're adding up to 40, so the 3 is doubled in this one. Now if the 3 is doubled and the 2 is doubled and the 4 is doubled, the double digit in the middle box is now a 1 of all things. So this is very clever, and it's very clever, but it's still a bit surprising it's going to finish from here. Okay, so what do I now know more about this cage than I think I do? I know that the natural value... I know this... Okay, yes. Oh, that's so clever. Oh, that's... Oh, my goodness me. I've understood it. I've understood everything. Well, not everything. Not literally everything, but quite a lot. Ah, this is beautiful. Right. So when we looked at this cage before, I was trying to work out what the missing digit from it was. And it was basically 5 greater than the digit that goes in the doubler. So this being a 1 means the natural value of these digits is 39. It's an 8-cell cage, so had it been a 9-cell cage, it would have added up to 45, which means that the missing value from this cage is a 6. And look at this. Where are we going to put the 6 in box 5 then? Not in the odd cell. 6 is even. It goes here. But that means 6 is in this cage up here. And I think I said that if that's a 4, I need to put 9 in here. And there's no way to make 3 cells add up to 9 if you can't use 6, which is 1, 2, 6 option, 5, which is 1, 3, 5 option, 4, which is 2, 3, 4 option. I'm just going to double check the maths on this. I mean, I can see it now. If that's a 4, the natural value of these digits is 36. Therefore, those must add up to 9 to make the box add up to 45, and it just can't work. So that the double digit now in this cage is a 5. Which means these 3... Oh, for goodness sake. Oh, that's... I can actually get a digit from this. Because these now If the double digit here is a 5, the natural value of those cells is 35. Therefore, the natural value of these cells to make the whole box add up to 45 is 10. Without using 5 and 6 must be 1, 2, 7. The 7 here tells us the order. So that's 7. This is a 1, 2 pair. There's a 7 over here. This 7 is doing stuff by SUDOKU. That means that's not a 7, look. 7 is now in one of those 3 cells in box number 1. Again by SUDOKU. There's probably more stuff we can do with this. 6 means that 6 and 8 is also resolved. Look, 6 and 8 go into those squares. So that's not 6. The digits... Yes, I see. Right, okay. Look at this 40 cage. Now, this is a totally natural and unsullied 40 cage. So, it's missing a 5, and that means it's got to have all the other digits in it. So, well, I can see the 9 and the 8 can't go in these squares because of this 9 and this 8. So that is an 8-9 pair. And then these squares have got to be a 3-4 pair. They've got to be the other digits that are not 5. And I'm just trying to... Oh, I see. I've got a 4 here. I never see the black digits. It's because I so rarely get given digits. So the 4 and the 3 can go into the grid. We can place a 4 pencil mark at the top. 6 by SUDOKU is in one of these 3 cells. Can we do... Well, perhaps this is the time when we should be asking ourselves how this cage works, because we know the doubler. The doubler up here is 5, isn't it? So the doubler down here is 4, which means that those 3 squares are adding up to 9. And then look, they can't include the 4, which is doubled in the 2 by 2, and they can't include a 5, so they're not 1, 3, 5. So that little triple is a 1, 2, 6 triple, which is very annoying because I don't think it's resolved. Okie dokie there. Oh, alright, I can do some more SUDOKU stuff though. 9, we know this cage is a natural 40 cage, so its only digits missing is a 5 again. Well, the 9 in it now is in one of those 2 cells, which means the 9, look, in box 5 is exactly there by SUDOKU. 9 can't repeat in its cage, so the 9 in box 8 is in one of these 2 cells. Now, can we improve upon that any further? The answer is I don't know. There's got to be an 8 down here by SUDOKU. 4 is the double digit down here, isn't it? So 4, because of this 4, because neither of these cells can be a 4, they must turn green. So the 4 is now in one of these, which means these 2 squares are not 4. Sorry, are not doublers, because the doubler in column 1 is at the bottom. So the doubler in this box is in one of these 2 squares, and don't we know this is a doubled 3? I think we do. We worked out that this was a doubled 3 because that was an 8, so that is now the doubler. Therefore that square is becoming green. That square loses its central pencil mark. These 2 squares now don't include a doubler, so there's a doubler in one of those, which is the 5 in this box, isn't it? So 5 as a pencil mark can come out of all of those cells, including the corner. There is definitely a 5 in one of these. There is a 3 by SUDOKU here, not in the corner, but still a very welcome digit. That digit is odd and it's not 1, 5 or 9. So that is 3 or 7. Which I want to resolve but don't think I can. Okay, do I know? I know, right, so I can pencil mark these digits now, can't I? Because one of these is 5. Still don't think we know which one. And the other one is either 6. Oh, can that really be 6? I think it might be able to. In fact, it probably is, because it would resolve this stuff down there. So the options for these squares, though, are either 5, 6, or whatever goes in here, which is 3 or 7. Sorry, brief interruption today. Well, actually, not that brief, but I was called upon to help with some technical Lego. This happens in the school holidays. And yeah, so I'm just back at my screen now. I can see I've got 2 cells highlighted. Let me just see what I was doing. I was filling in these 2 digits. So why was I looking at these digits? This is all, well, I can see that's not a 6 or a 7 by Sudoku. But why was I looking at these digits? Let me get my head back in the game. I have got to look at these digits because right, yes, okay. So those digits there go in. They have to live somewhere in box 5, don't they? And they can't repeat in the cage. So these digits, oh yes, which must include 5, because we knew that this cage had to have a 5 in it. Yes, okay, it's coming back to me. Right, so these 2 digits either go there or there. And the one that's not 5, right. So hang on, that can't be 6 or 7. This one can't be 7. No, no, I remember this. No, this cage has not got 6 in it either, though, has it? Because we said that before. Once we put 1 in this cage, we know that the natural value of the 8 cells is 39. 39 needs what to get to 45? If this was a 9-cell cage, it would have to have an extra 6 in it. It isn't a 9-cell cage, so it doesn't have a 6 in it. So that's not a 6. This is a 3-5 pair, which means yeah. So where does the 3, whichever one of these is a 3, where does it go in the box? There is the answer. So that's a 3. Doesn't seem to differentiate my 3 and my 5, but no, it doesn't. Well, okay, but by Sudoku there is now a 3 in one of those squares, which means there's a 3 in exactly that square. Actually, let's use the 3 up here. We're not going to get a 3 in the corner down there, but we do get a 3 exactly here, which means that we get a 3 in one of those 2 cells by Sudoku. And there the trail may run cold, I'm afraid. But that was nearly very exciting. And at least I'm still making progress with the puzzle despite a gap in my attention to it. Now, in this column, I need 1s, 2s and 7s to finish it off. And that was a silly thing to do because I appear to know nothing about those digits. Okay. What about... no, don't like the look of that either. What about this 40 cage? What have we still got to put into that? We know this is all natural numbers, so it's not got a 5 in it. Right, so effectively we've got 5 digits of the 9 digits ruled out from the 4 remaining cells. We've got to put in 4, 7, 8, 9. So oh, okay, so where does the 7 go? That's a sensible question. It's got to go there. That's the only place it can be. Oh, this is huge. Wow. So they become a 1-2 pair. This becomes a 7. Oh, this is just quality. Oh, that's a 7. That's a 7 by quality. Where does the 7 go in column 2? It goes there by quality. How many 7s have I got? Almost. Well, all of them, I think. I'm only missing 1, and it's in the middle box. And no, I'm missing 2. But the one in the middle box, I can place. It's got to go here, which means that's a 7, and that completes my quorum of 7s. 7s are quorate, and we can move on. Right, what was I thinking about? These digits. So now I've still got to place 4, 8, and 9. Well, where does the 8 go in this little triumvirate? It doesn't go there, and it doesn't go here, by the power of 8age. So that's an 8, which seems to give me a 9 as well. And therefore that's the missing digit, which is a 4, which means that's a 4. This is now starting to tumble. 2 and... where does the 8 go in the middle box? It goes there. That's got to be a 2. 1, 5 and 6 to complete this column. That's down to 5 or 6 because there's a 1, 2 pair. This is 1, 5 and 6 at the top. 8 lives down in the red cells. What does that mean? I've forgotten. The red cell, oh no, the red cells are the doublers. Right, so this little domino here is full of the doubler from this box, which is a 4, isn't it? 36 plus 9, yes. So there's a 4, 8 pair at the bottom of this box, which means that's not an 8. Well, that's this 8 here means that's not an 8. Right, so those two squares are 5 and 9. Bobbins. I don't think we can do that. 5 and 9. Is that really true? It appears so. Okay, let's double click. What do we think is going to be very helpful at this point? Maybe this row. 1, 2 and 4 to place. So this is just 1 or 2 because there's a 4 looking at it. These squares are 1, 2 and 4. We don't seem to know nearly enough. All right, let's try this row instead. 1 and 5 to place. Again, I'm not seeing the resolution I need to see for that to work. Okay. Right, I'm going to start double clicking digits now in an effort to find basic Sudoku steps that will help me. Yeah, okay. Where does 9 go in box 1? By basic Sudoku, it goes in the corner where it doesn't earn itself a song, but I'm still very pleased to see it. Right, that must be a red 9 combination, because one of these digits is the doubler, which in this box is a 5. So those squares are a 5, 9 pair, which means those squares at the top are 4, 6, 8, I want to say, which means that's not 6. That's not 6. Still isn't resolving itself. In this row we need 1s, 2s and 5s. So that cell is 1, 2 or 5. And that cell is 2 or 5 only. Gosh, we've nearly got a triple here. Oh, come on. This must be about to crack, isn't it? What have I missed here? Have I missed some basic Sudoku? Almost certainly. So what I should be asking is, what's making people cross? The thing that's making people cross is that that's an 8. No, that hasn't finished the puzzle though, although it's a useful deduction. No, I'm not sure how much further the 8s go. What about this box then? 1s, 2s, 5s and 6s. Ah, okay, I can see something there that's a little bit strange. I've got 1, 2, 5, 6 to place, but that is a little quadruple look on 1, 2, 5 and 6. In fact, that's not 5 either. So look, because of the 5 here. So the 5 in this column lives at the top, which makes that 1, that 2. This is something else. Oh, that's not useful. Okay, this is 5 or 6 as well now, but I don't know which one. But if that quadruple, which has now become a triple, means I should know what this digit is. That digit's the missing digit from this column, which seems to be 4. Okay, now has that helped us? Answers on a postcard, please. Come on, you've got to have helped us, haven't you? You naughty puzzle. 5, yeah, sorry, there's a 5 looking at that, so that's got to be 6, that's got to be 5. That's giving me the 3 here, which by the method of the cracker toy means that's a 5, which means this is a 1, this is a 5, which means that's a 9, that's a 5. Now has that done some things? Yeah, look, there's a 1, 2, 6 triple in row 3, the 6 of which is in this domino, so that's not a 6. Now, let's try the same thing down here. There's a 1, 2, 6 triple in column 3, the 6 of which is down here, so that's not a 6. Oh, I thought that might be useful, but no. All right, in this column, I've not placed 1, 2, and 6. So that digit is 2 or 6. That digit is 1, 2, or 6 as well. Oh, it's C. No, the simple question is, where does 1 go in that box? It's got to go there. So this is a 2, 6 pair, and that digit is, you've guessed it, a 3. Which means that digit seems to be a 3, which means that... I was going to make... No, I've already got that 3. Ah! No, what on earth's going on? I want to see the 3s. I've done them all. Hooray. Okay, so there's no 3 down here. And I need to put 5, 6... Yes, where does 5 go in the bottom box? It's got to go there. So this is a 9's got to go here. That's got to be 6 by the power of SUDOKU. That's got to be 6 by the power of SUDOKU. And I've got 1s and 2s here, but I can't remember what the doubler is I need down there. The doubler I need down there is a 2 by the looks of things. Right. Oh, that's massive. Right. There's a doubler in this box, which is a 2, which is now not in this domino because of this 1, 2 pair. So those have to turn green. There's a 2 down here. I don't know if I know where it is, but what I do know is that that can't be a doubler now, because that would put 2 doublers in the same row. So the doubler in this box, which is the 4, goes there, which disambiguates my 4 and 8. It also... No, it doesn't. I thought it was going to do something with 8s. 4... Oh, bobbins. All right, okay, these 2 digits are known. They are 5 and 8. Is that helpful? No. Okay. All right, let's try these digits. These are 1s, 2s, and 9s. That's not a 1. Oh, that is useful. No, that is useful. Okay, so where does 9 go in this row? You can see it's in one of those 2 cells. The same is true here. And that helps me to realise that there is actually a hidden single 9 in column 7. There's only one place 9 can go because it can't go here. And it can't go there, so it must go here. So that's 9, that's 8, that's 8, that's 5. That's 5, that's 9. Now, was that the doubler? Yes, the 5 was the doubler. So that's not a doubler. This is now not a doubler, and that's going to be beautiful in this box at the bottom because that's become the doubler and is therefore the 2. So we can knock 2 out of those squares, knock 8 out of this top square. This 9 is therefore telling us this is a 1. So that's a 1, that's a 2, that's a 2, that's a 6, that's a 6. And has that busted it open? That's a 4 apparently by SUDOKU, so that should be a 2. That seems to have to be a 9. That's a 2, that's a 1. Those 2 squares are 4 and something. 4 and 6. Yes, I can do that. That's 6, that's 4. So that becomes an 8 at the top of the grid. Have I done... I think I have, yeah, it's finished, isn't it? It's absolutely finished. 1, 2, 1, 2, 6, 4, and all that's left to check is that we've got a different doubler in every red cell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. None of them seem to be in the same row or column or box, so let's click tick. Yay, we did it. We did it. What a brilliant puzzle. Absolutely startling. What a birthday present as well. The Cogito gives a great birthday present. Tristan, I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. Absolutely wonderful puzzle. And just very clever and very surprising. I was definitely a point in it when I didn't think there could be enough information for it to resolve, especially not so prettily. But it was really, really elegant. Surprising maths on this box and this box. And then the way it sort of came together at the end using these 40 cages to sort of disambiguate where digits can go. That must have taken a heck of a lot of thinking about as a constructor. But I loved it. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I do enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.